How you guys doing? So you're gonna ask me some questions, and all right.
Great. So how's everyone in the band doing today?
I'm the only one that knows how I'm doing. I haven't talked to anybody in the band today. If we're talking about World Under Blood, I talked to Tim a couple days ago, and he's not in a very good place right now. So I'm gonna try him back probably later today to discuss some things. We were planning on shooting a video, but it doesn't look like that's gonna happen because of his schedule. And I'm doing great. I'm fantastic.
So who came up with the name World Under Blood, and what is the meaning of it?
It's pretty much, I like three, I don't usually like band names with three different words in them, but Can't Kill Yourself became CKY, and I just said World Under Blood, like the whole world underneath blood, and that pretty much reminded me of how like everyone say like the polar ice caps are melting, and eventually the whole world's gonna be just water, like that horrible movie, Waterworld. I just imagine like what if it was blood, World Under Blood, and then Slayer came out with their album World Painted Blood. I don't know if that was on purpose. Because I've said some negative things about Slayer a long time ago, which was a mistake, but I like the name. We all like the name, so we stuck with it. Band names are hard.
So how did the band come together, and what is the current lineup of the band?
Well, me and Tim met at the Rainbow Room in Hollywood, famous bar. A lot of posers go there, a lot of cool people go there. We were hanging out there a lot and drinking, and he had just moved out there from Rochester, New York, and was looking for like a permanent commercial gig as a drummer. And I said, "Yeah, why don't we do a band?" And he was like, "All right." And we got started right away. And at that time, everyone in CKY was supposed to be doing side projects, and Jess did his, and this became mine. And we started working on it, and things came together really quickly, and the songs were written really quickly. They just weren't recorded quickly. They were written quickly, they just weren't recorded quickly enough.
So when you guys formed World Under Blood, did you know what musical direction you wanted to take?
I just... me and Tim pretty much I had the songs demoed on a 4-track, the same exact 4-track that I demoed, CKY songs on 11 to 12 years ago, cassettes. I know nothing of technology. I have a studio that's, not a studio, but I have a board that's like 36 channels, and it's all digital, and I took one look at it, and I put it right back in the box. And I'm waiting to do something with that, but I'm never going to use it. I just started demoing riffs and stuff on my 4-track, and then me and Tim would go to a rehearsal room, and we'd put the songs together, and whatever happened. I wanted to hear what it would sound like if I wrote some death metal songs, and I wanted to do the kind of death metal that I usually don't hear that much anymore, and that was pretty much it. So it was pretty much a record that I wanted to do for myself, that if anything else, I didn't expect to really release it broadly or do much with it. I just wanted to do a couple songs, and then it turned into a record, and then the deal came along, and I'm just really, really happy with it. It's all I wanted to. It's all I listened to. It's all I listened to in my car. It's all I listened to at home, and I'm just happy with how it came out.
So, what's the meaning behind the album title "Tactical"?
Tactical is a word that I heard in the movie Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan, and I always wondered what that word meant. And I wanted to name the latest CKY record, the last one, Carver City. I wanted to name that Tactical, but they were like, everyone's going to say testicle, and, ha ha ha. I didn't care. I like the word. I like what it means. It means a plan of attack. And that's pretty much what this is, a plan of attack.
So what were some of the unused album titles before you chose Tactical?
Nothing. Because I had the title Tactical for the CKY record, and I said, well, I'll name the World Under Blood record that then.
So will you be touring at all for this album?
That depends on the remaining amount of record buying public. If people, want to buy the record, that's great. That'll really help us get out there, and it'll really, help us tour, and we'll know who our audience is. I mean, I don't know how many people are going to be our fans if people download the music for free and steal it or whatever. I'm not going to know, who's going to come to the shows, if anybody is going to come to the shows at all or not. So record sales help determine, still to this day, which I don't understand why, but record sales still determine what a promoter is going to offer you to come to play. It gives a band an idea of how many people will show up for the show. And that's pretty much going to be, if it's big in Japan, we'll go to Japan. If it's big in Australia, we'll go to Australia. Wherever it seems that people want to see the band, that's where we'll go.
So if you do tour, will you be using a 6-string live?
Yeah, I will be using 6 strings. And I don't think they'll be Parkers.
Do you foresee a second album, or is it too soon to tell?
Too soon to tell. I mean, if we do a second album, it'll be a lot different from the first one. It'll be quicker than the first one. And we're just going to try to push the boundaries without just going way out of control and showing off. And I'm not into showing off, technical ability. I like to write songs, and that's what I always liked about death metal bands that I did get into, were the bands that knew how to write songs instead of just showing off technical ability. And that's not really what we did. So I'm trying to keep up with what's going on here. People pay for it, will pay for, and they will pay for a live show. Right. If people will pay for music, they will pay for a live show. That's true. I haven't purchased a single CK-related item since Carver City. I'm still a huge fan, but I will always end up spending money on other bands that I've been into lately. That's great. Cool. The Megadeth cover, Wake Up Dead, that turned out pretty sick, actually. And I listened to the original and our version back to back, and they're pretty similar. It's pretty funny. Me and Tim talked about how we don't like when bands cover songs and they make them completely different. Like there was a Kiss tribute album that came out where somebody did Rock and Roll All Night, and it didn't sound anything like Rock and Roll All Night. And we always wanted to be true to the original song, so we tried to match it and modernize the song Wake Up Dead as much as possible. And Luke did amazing solos. James Murphy did amazing solos on it, and it sounds great. I'm interested to get some kind of reaction from Dave Mustaine. I don't care if it's positive or negative. I just want to see, something and see what he thinks. So.
Right, so what kind of guitars and pickups did you use for the album recording?
Well, Logan Mader had a couple guitars lying around that sounded better than mine. Mike Keane from The Faceless had a guitar lying around that sounded better than mine. I didn't use really any of my guitars. The pickups were all AMGs. I was told that I'd be punished severely if I didn't use AMG pickups for this record. So I had a couple AMG pickups installed in some of my Parker guitars, but we didn't end up using them. I think we just used Ibanez and whatever guitar Logan had. I mean, that was 4 years ago. I don't remember what it was, but it wasn't anything that I use on stage. And the bass that we used was bought from Guitar Center and used to do the bass tracks for the record, and then we returned it to Guitar Center. So that's how the bass came around.
So when it comes to writing, how does the song usually start, and how does it come together?
Sometimes I'll just sit with that 4-track that has the cassette in it. You know, you can get like 100 cassettes for $20 now. So I ordered a bunch of tapes and like I put a tape in and I'll start playing. Usually all night. I'll start at like 11 o'clock at night and play till 4 in the morning, and I'll just record a bunch of riffs. And then I'll listen to it later, and then I'll be like, this is cool. I'll put this riff with that riff, and then this riff with this riff, and then, you know, and then I'll show it to Tim, and then we'll try to get some of the song mapped out, and then I'll say, you know, usually one of us will say, this song needs another riff or another part or something, and then we'll come up with something else and arrange it and finish it. It's just a bunch of, like, just, if I didn't have that 4-track, you know, I wouldn't be able to write anything, I don't think.
So what were your influences for this album?
Just the world of death metal. You know, I got into, the first death metal tape I ever bought was To the Gory End by Cancer. That was 1990. Then right after that, I was in love with death metal. I thought it was cooler than thrash. I thought thrash was like, I used to think thrash was like the most aggressive form of music, and then when I heard this, I was like, wow, you know. And then I got Death's Spiritual Healing right after that, like 2 days later. And I started to buy all the Death tapes, and this is before Human came out. And then the album Human came out, and I was like, wow, like now it's getting even more progressive. And, you know, Human was a surprise because it was the first real technical record to come out. I mean, there was Atheist, and there was Solstice, and there was a lot of technical bands, and Cynic. But Human was the first one that everybody really caught on to, and that was half of Cynic anyway, so that's when I got really excited and into, you know, writing technical stuff, but wanting to make it catchy like Chuck Schuldiner did. He wrote a progressive music, but it was catchy. And then bands just started to outdo each other and get more progressive and more technical to the point where there was, you know, didn't sound like there were any songs going on. It just sounded like the music was just showing off what the band members were capable of doing. And I think that that's even worse now. I think now that there's Pro Tools and you can make as many mistakes as you want, I think bands have gotten so progressive and so technical that, you know, even me, who always thought, you know, it can never be too extreme, even me, I listen to some of these bands and it's just like, you know, and it's just, there's no songs there. You have to remember that you have to put a hook in there. And that's what I learned from rock and roll and pop music, is that songs are just that. They're songs. They need a hook. They need something that you'll remember about them once you're done listening to it. The flashy thing is cool, but it wears off, and it doesn't last.
So speaking of death, somebody says that they've been listening to the Spiritual Healing album and thinking how badass it would be for World Under Blood to cover that song. Any thoughts on that, or covering any other death song in the future?
Well, we did cover death songs. Not World Under Blood, but James Murphy and I started the Death Tribute Project, which I know everybody's going to say, yeah, right, you know, when is that coming out? It's taken a long time for various reasons. Some people backed out. I know that it's still being worked on. Terry Butler, who played on Spiritual Healing, was just in James Murphy's studio a couple days ago, and he did a bass on something from The Sound of Perseverance, which I thought was really interesting because he played on Spiritual Healing and Leprosy. And I did about 7 death songs. I did Low Life, I did most of the guitars and the vocals, and we did some songs from Human and from Leprosy, and I believe we did Symbolic, and I believe we did something from Individual Thought Patterns. But it's been so long I don't remember. But all I know is that James Murphy has to get it finished by the end of the year or he's in some trouble. So we'll hear it soon.
So do you see yourself progressing into a more technical sounding style than melodic death metal?
Technical, I think that we can become more extreme. I want to be more extreme. I want to focus less. A challenge for me is to try to write something that's supposed to be heavy that doesn't have melody, and I'm not really good at that. That's like one of my weak points. There's a couple songs on Tactical where I put melody out of my mind, and I just wanted to make them heavy, but they still end up sounding a little bit melodic, and I just can't get around that. And I think it's because I'm bored with songs that have no melody to them. I don't know any bands that do that per se, but it's not something I'm interested in. I like melody in all music that I listen to, and I think that we can get more extreme. I don't think we should get any more technical, but I think that we'll just get better. You know, whoever ends up in the band, or stays in the band, or, you know, I'm certainly not going to look for a member of the band that's not going to be as good as the previous one. Some members of the band aren't too thrilled with the music industry right now, and they're afraid to give this a shot. So we'll see what happens.
So if you could tour with any 3 artists, who would you choose?
Probably choose some bands that I'm friends with. I mean, I'd like to tour with the Malevolent Creation guys, but I heard that it's a lot of trouble. Those guys are a lot of trouble. Which means, you know, they're a lot of fun, but you can get into a lot of trouble with those guys. Decrepit Birth, Cynic, Cannibal Corpse, whoever. I'm used to touring. I've been touring for 15 years, and we've toured with Nikki Sixx. Yeah, right. We've toured with people, you know, CKY's toured with people that we have no business touring with, and we never got booed off the stage, and I'm not afraid of audiences. I'm not afraid of different crowds or whatever. I'll play in front of anybody. You know.
So what was the most difficult song on Tactical to record?
Well, the most difficult song is probably Into the Arms of Cruelty, because it has a main riff in it that no matter how many times I practice it, I never get any better at playing it. And I think when people hear that song, they'll see what I mean. It's one of my favorite riffs that I've ever written, and I just love that song so much. It's the second track on the record. It's the one I'm probably the most proud of. It's probably my favorite song off the album, and it deals with my extreme hatred of child abuse and any kind of exploitation of children or anything like that. Guns N' Roses. Rumor is you're becoming a dubstep producer. I don't know what that means. What's the story behind Revere's Tears? Revere's Tears is pretty much it's a rumor, I guess you would call it, or a theory that whoever discovers cures for diseases suddenly disappear. And I always thought that was interesting, that I had heard about people online that had said that they had discovered cures for cancer and diabetes and all this stuff, and then all of a sudden they're either bought out or they disappear, or they're killed and it's hidden, the government hides it or whatever. And I just wanted to make use of that, and I just created this guy in my head that had come up with some kind of cure, and he disappeared. So Dead and Still in Pain is about feeling like you want to kill yourself, and you're still, I don't know, you're still alive. you feel dead already, and you just feel like shit. You know, I write about mental illness and crazy mental illness, probably things that have never happened. I'm interested in people that have weird obsessive compulsive disorders, and I like hearing about that, like that woman that eats toilet paper. You know, if that was a little bit more serious, I'd probably write a song about it. But I'm interested in that kind of stuff. So
which song had the most tracks and which song had the least?
The song that had the least tracks is the Malevolent Creation cover for Alliance or War. I did one vocal track all the way through, and that was it. We didn't stop the tape or do anything over for that. As for the song with the most tracks, I think they all pretty much have the same. There are 4 rhythm guitars. There are up to 8 guitars on every song going at once. There are roughly 6 vocal tracks on each song. And a little bit of keyboard hidden underneath to give it some, more meat. And it has more tracks than your everyday basic death metal record that you might hear nowadays. But that's what we like to do. That's what I like to experiment with, getting different sounds and doing more with this kind of music.
Was there a song that you were afraid it would sound floppy, or was everything tight from the beginning?
Well, there is a song called God, my mind is drawing a blank. I can't stand his name. The other one, Purgatory Dormitory, I thought was going to be the album's throwaway song because it was the last one written, and I was trying to get an 8th song done, and I thought, God, I feel guilty. This song's not as cool as the other ones. I'm in trouble here. So we wrote it, demoed it, still didn't like it, and we went in and did it, and vocally and lyrically, all of a sudden it just came together, and it became tight, and it became really heavy and really over the top, and it turned out to be one of my favorite songs off the album.
What's your favorite track from Tactical?
Into the Arms of Cruelty, I think I said that is my favorite.
Okay, and for the last fan question, what took you guys so long?
Well, the 2 of us that were working the most on World Under Blood were me and Tim Young, and we both obviously have other bands that we do full time, and getting our schedules to coordinate so that we could work on this, became a big issue. Not to mention the fact that a lot of stuff had to be re-recorded, and I didn't tell anyone at the label this because I didn't want them to worry, but we recorded Tactical in a lot of studios that I did not give credit to in the album sleeve because I feel that we were ripped off, and I actually paid quite a large sum of money from our advance to somebody who gave me blank CDs of DVDs that should have had drum tracks on them, and they didn't. So we had to go and redo some drum tracks, and it was difficult. We worked with so many different people at different times, whenever we could, whenever we were both home. If I wasn't leaving for tour, then Tim was coming home from one, and that's what pretty much is what's going on now. Tim's in Morbid Angel, and we talked about that, and they just put out a new record, and they're going to be on the road until October. So I don't know. I talked to him and I said, should I replace you? What do you want to do? And he said, well, do what you got to do. And that's not very encouraging. He wants to be paid to do everything for the band, and especially promotional things. He doesn't want to sign the posters. He doesn't really want to do a video unless he's paid to do it, which pretty much makes me feel like he's a hired gun. And I didn't think that anyone in this band was a hired gun. I thought that we were all in it together. I thought we had all started the band together. I don't want to be Chuck Schuldiner or Dave Mustaine and have a different lineup every other month. I want to keep the lineup that we have and somehow try to make it work. But, it's difficult. Luke and Risha are really excited to get this going, and so am I. But I just have to have further discussions with Tim and see what we can do about this. I mean, he's just in a really bad mood, and he's really turned off by the music industry, which we all are. It's not in a very good place right now, and we're all just trying to get away with doing what we can do. And that's about it for that. Let me see. Did Red Expanding become another song? No, I didn't write that one yet. I still like that title, but I didn't write that song yet. Under the Autumn Low is about seasonal depression, so Darren has written about some personal issues for a while. Yes, a lot of the songs are about my personal experiences, and I think people that have listened to me yammer on and be obnoxious and say stupid things and smart things or whatever will get that from reading the lyrics. The raffle prize. What I wanted to do is I'm going to talk to the label after I'm done doing this. Is I want to raffle off all the people that pre-ordered the record with the T-shirt and the poster. I want to take all those names and addresses and raffle them off and give away stuff like guitars and meetings, guitar lessons. A lot of fans had some good ideas. Phone call, whatever they want, man. I just want people to be fair and to pay for, to give us a chance to recoup, the money we spent and the hard work that we put into this, and not go and get subpar quality copies off of torrent sites. It's making every band not only angry, but it's making them hard to continue. And, there's nothing really we can do about that. All right, let me see. What guitars are you using besides Parker? Well, that's what I'm trying to figure out, because I'm not going to be using Parker anymore. I've had enough of that company. I've been with them for 10 years and can't really seem to get too much respect or acknowledgement from them. I'm not saying I'm a super huge rock star that should be getting 2 guitars every year or every week or whatever, but I'm going to look for somebody else, somebody that's more financially stable. Parker keeps, they're not doing good business, and they don't want to give away guitars. They want me to pay what anyone would pay for their guitars, and that's just pretty much a slap in the face to somebody that's been promoting them for 10, 11 years. And you go on YouTube, and if you type in CKY, pretty much, you're going to see a kid playing a Parker guitar playing CKY riffs or World Under Blood riffs or whatever. And that pisses me off. And I'm going to be vocal about that, and it just pisses me off. So I'm going to notify them that I'm no longer with them and move on. Probably going to sell them all, too.
So if there's nothing else you want to address?
There's a lot of things here that I'd love to address. A vinyl release, I'm going to push for that, just like CKY did with Carver City. Roadrunner didn't want to do a vinyl release of Carver City, but we did. I think Nuclear Blast is a little bit more open to that, so I think there will be vinyl, absolutely. Parker for the raffle? Yeah. Some people are saying, "Oh, I already ordered. I can't be part of the raffle." Everybody that pre-orders this record is going to be part of this raffle. So, if you pre-order the first day, if you pre-order tomorrow, if you pre-order 3 copies, if you pre-order 1 copy, you're in. I will personally send you the prize myself. Everything will be done personally through me or whoever else in the band wants to contribute, and that's what I want to do. Let me see.
So this is the last thing before you sign off.
Okay, for those of you who don't know, they want me to say that Tactical is out on July 26th in North America and July 29th in Europe. And you can order at store.nuclearblastusa.com. And in Europe, you can order nuclearblast.de/shop. CKY is breaking up again. Heard Sig is done. I don't know what's going on with that. Me and Chad threaten to leave the band once a week. If we want to talk about CKY really quick, I can tell you this. The last show we did was Download Festival, and I pissed those guys off a little bit by pretty much going back to my old ways, getting a little bit too tipsy with the Jack Daniels, which I shouldn't have been doing again. And anybody that has a problem with any kind of substance, you can quit so many times, and most of us are going to relapse, and I'm sober 2 weeks now. I haven't had a drink since that awful, awful interview we did at Download Festival, which I'm really embarrassed about. And we talked about it, and I basically said before that, or right after that interview, those guys got really mad at me because I was obnoxious and I was embarrassing, and most of it I don't remember. And that scared me, because getting the link to that interview, and I watched that interview, and finally seeing how annoying I can be under the influence of half of a bottle of Jack Daniels, pretty much changed my thought process right then and there, and I said, I can't do this anymore. So those guys were saying, we can't be with you if you're going to do this. And I said, well, I'm not going to do it anymore, but I'm not doing it because I'm not going to stop doing it because you're threatening me. I'm going to stop doing it for my health and for my family, and, to be able to do whatever it is I want to do in the future. And then Ryan Dunn died. Was in a car accident that had a lot to do with alcohol. And that was devastating. It's hard to talk about. I think that pretty much brought us back together again. And we started talking about it and realized that, fuck, man, I can't do this anymore. I have a huge problem with stage fright. Some people know. A couple shots of Jack helps me get over that, and that's how I'm able to perform. If I do a completely sober show, my knees buckle, I get nauseous, I get dizzy, I feel like I'm going to fall over. It's horrible. I play terribly. If I have a couple shots, I do a damn good show. Problem is what happens after the show. That's what I got to work on. That's what I got to stop doing. So after Ryan Dunn, we pretty much put hopefully any thoughts of CKY ending to rest, and we're going to continue on and do what we're supposed to do. Continue going. I'm actually going to, they're doing a memorial for Ryan tomorrow in LA. I didn't get to go East Coast to the real funeral, but they're doing one in LA tomorrow, so I'm going to be there to say goodbye to him. Let me see if there's anything else here. Relapsing, well, yeah. Being serious about the topic of relapsing could be a good theme for another web album. Well, relapsing is already part of Tactical. And some people think that interview from Download was funny. I just thought it was embarrassing and opened my eyes to how ridiculously stupid and annoying, is the main word, annoying I can be when and I black out too. I don't remember saying any of that stupid shit. So I also quit smoking cigarettes for 2 weeks. So I'm planning on getting healthy, and I'm planning on becoming a better musician, and I'm just looking forward to the future, and I feel so much better, doing what we're doing. I'm excited about the album coming out, and I love talking to you guys. I'm on Facebook every night answering questions, and I'm always here for you if you have problems and you want some answers. So keep in touch. I love you guys.